member of a team affects my mental health. It keeps me happy, it keeps me engaged, and I think it keeps me focused on everything else I need to do with schoolwork, staying healthy, staying fit, all of it.
I think it helps my mental health a lot just knowing that I have a support system behind me that I didn't have before when I first came to college. I think it kind of depends. Some days are really stressful, but some days are just fun, and it relieves my stress to be out there, but if the coaches are coming down on us, then it kind of gets stressful.
Hit it.
So being on a sports team causes stress off the field and on the field because in classes it's hard managing your time, but it also relieves a lot of stress because you can get all your anger out on the field if you're upset or anything. So
on a team you have requirements of a certain GPA and a certain amount of credits you have to get, so it makes you have to work harder.
Really, yes. Since I joined the lacrosse team, I've had the best grades I have had all of my college career.
Thank you.
I like to exercise because it helps me take my mind off things, especially if I'm stressed about school or anything going on in my life.
My favorite way to stay active is to do hot yoga and to run. And hot yoga unstresses me, and running clears my mind.
If you don't mind me asking you, what is physical activity to you?
I guess an activity that increases your heart rate.
Okay. Well, physical activity is any body movement that works your muscles and requires more energy than resting.
Interesting.
So when you were in high school, you were in track, correct?
Yes.
So how did running track and staying physically active help you perform mentally?
Running track helped to reduce my stress and kept me calm, so it was a way to relax from the stress of the outside world.
So being active was a stress reliever?
Yeah, in a big way.
Okay. So do you think being physically active has an impact on a person's mental health or yours?
I do.
How?
Because it was kind of an escape away from schoolwork, which was stressing me out, or anything at home that was stressing me out. So it's just a way to block everything out.
So would you recommend somebody stay physically active?
Absolutely.
Now I have a couple of true or false questions for you and see how good you are.
True.
Next, true or false? Walking, running, dancing, swimming, yoga, and gardening are not a few examples of physical activity.
True.
That is false. Walking, running, dancing, swimming, yoga, and gardening are actually a few examples of physical activity. Next question. True or false? Exercising is a type of physical activity that is unplanned and structured.
False.
You are correct. Exercising is a type of physical activity, but it is planned and it is structured. Next question. True or false? You should get at least 150 minutes of moderate aerobic activity such as cycling or fast walking every week.
True.
That is true.
Based on An Invitation to Health, The Power of Now by Diane Hales, mental disorders can affect every aspect of life, including longevity. Those with a serious mental disorder are shown to die at younger ages than peers without disorders. Causes can be from both medical conditions as well as unnatural causes such as suicide. Let's take a look at two of the most common mental disorders. Anxiety, said to affect an estimated amount of 10 to 15% of psychiatric patients, and is more common than depression. Key symptoms of anxiety include panic attacks, phobias, and chronic distress. Depression affects more than 13 million adults in the United States every year. Key symptoms include immense sadness, emptiness, and discouragement. About 10% of college students have been diagnosed with or treated for depression over the past 12 months. Incoming students rated their emotional health at the lowest point in the last 2 decades. Some schools report that the number of students diagnosed with depression or anxiety have become more than doubled in the recent years. And according to the ACHA survey, about 1 in 4 undergraduate students have been diagnosed with or treated for a mental disorder. Students who struggle with symptoms of anxiety or depression can interfere with concentration, study habits, classroom participation, and testing, and they commonly report struggling with academics due to stress, lack of sleep, and many other life challenges. But just how does exercise cause a drastic change in the chemistry of our brains? Neurotransmitter mechanisms of exercise show, through animal and human-based models, it has been established that exercise influences monoaminergic activity. What exactly is monoaminergic activity? Monoaminergic activity pertains to neurons that secrete the monoamine neurotransmitter dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin. Dopamine plays a critical role in the function of the central nervous system, and it is also linked with the brain's complex system of motivation and reward. Serotonin regulates a lot of various aspects of an individual, including mood, appetite, and sleep. Cells that make up serotonin use tryptophan hydroxylase in a chemical reaction which, when combined with tryptophan, forms 5-hydroxytryptamine, otherwise known as serotonin. In relation to serotogenic activity, studies have confirmed that the levels of free tryptophan and serotonin metabolite increase after exercise. In human studies, aerobic exercise increased tryptophan availability and serotonin concentrations, which explains why we experience relief and tend to be in a better mood afterwards.
Well, one of the things that I do is I try to make sure, I think health is really important, especially mental health. And, it's a stress reliever for me to, exercise every day. So I dedicate a certain amount of time every day to exercising. And so after I get off work at, 5 o'clock, I go to the gym and make sure I at least get like an hour in at the gym. I also do yoga every Saturday, so I'm not that great at it yet, but working on it.
Tell me a little bit about, for someone who hasn't done yoga before, a little bit about the physical experience of doing yoga, a little bit about the mental and emotional experience of doing yoga.
I don't know, if people are happy, they're happy, they don't need it. If there's not a problem, there's not a problem. But I think if people have some sort of yearning or dissatisfaction or some itchy irritability, then it might be because they're not looking in the right direction for a solution, and that they should look within, and that within them there is a limitless, infinite capacity for bliss through connection to higher things, that as long as you're looking for happiness for yourself, you're never going to be. So I'd take on some sort of mild form of yoga and be loving and accepting of yourself, and not be sort of comparative or like not use it as a reference. I don't think there's anything else. I've tried it.
Not really feeling like myself lately. Just all the work's piling up on me, and just feeling a little sad and anxious right now. What should I do?
I felt that way a little bit before, and then I figured out that when I started exercising more often, it made me feel like so much happier and less anxious, and it's been helping me with my grades and my schoolwork now.
Alright, well, I guess I'll give that a shot.
Yeah, I'm out at Brooklyn. Now I'm down in Tribeca, right next to De Niro. But I'll be hood forever. I'm the new Sinatra. And since I made it here, I can make it anywhere.
Man, I'm tired.
How do you feel now compared to 2 hours ago, though?
Honestly, I feel a lot more at ease.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say.